The Olympics. Every 4 years, the world's greatest athletes come together to compete at the highest level on the world's biggest stage. This year's games are being held in Paris, France, and it all starts with the opening ceremonies. Every country puts together a choreographed masterpiece trying to bring in Olympic traditions along with a little bit of flair from their own country. This year, France tries to put their best foot forward and... They did what? Oh my God, what happened at the Olympics?
Little by little, it was like watching a train wreck. Like, well, that was weird. Like, that's not good. Oh my God.
Why does that lady have a beard?
His balls were hanging out in the background.
Why does that dude have tits? This is what got me. What's happening?
All
Let's do it. Episode 32. Welcome back.
31.
31. Welcome back.
Wrong.
Jumping the gun. 31.
All right. Again, I'm a little underprepared just because, again, trying to be a lot of things I'm not this week. Sucked away from my prep, but I got some stuff. What do you got?
Probably a lot of the same stuff you do.
I don't know. I mean, so I guess something fairly, you could talk about, the Olympics started.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about the gay Olympics?
Dude, how did you catch any of it?
Like actual events or the ceremonies?
Anything. We'll talk about the opening ceremony.
So no, I have no desire to ever watch any Olympic opening or closing ceremonies. The only reason I even hear about every now and then you'll hear about the Beijing opening ceremonies. They did the thing with the drone, and you'll catch the replay. Much like this one, oh my God, what happened at the Olympics?
Well, and I will say I saw it live. I think we were probably about 5 minutes late into tuning in, trying to figure out what was going on. So they did the whole.
You have your kids with you?
I had my kids with me. I was at my dad's house in California. We were visiting, and you want to follow the torch, the passing off the torch, watching the whole thing with that. So that's kind of what we were fixated on, is watching the path of the torch and where that was going, and then just little by little, it was like watching a train wreck. Like you could see it start to derail, and you're like, well, that was weird. And then all of a sudden, one car hits another car, and you're like, that's not good. And then all of a sudden,
why does that lady have a beard?
You're still looking at it, you're going, oh my God,
why does that dude have
What's
tits?
going on? So, super bizarre, dude.
Adam, you can play my the A2, and this is give you a taste of it. First, you got the little cherub.
Papa
Smurf there. He's going, I couldn't play the song with the sound of this. I don't want to get shut off of YouTube. But yeah, you can see the little guy. He's in the middle of the feast there. And then you got this drag queen here, beard, dude with the tits. Again, you got your kid watching with you. You have some explaining to do at this point.
Look at this one. These balls are hanging out in the background.
This is what got me. We're going to have to blur that out. But this man's testicles are hanging out on live television.
Yeah.
Just balls.
And that's, to me, goes, to a lot of people, goes above and beyond just the perversion of having the transgender individuals acting this out, mocking the Last Supper, attack.
They say it wasn't.
They're saying it well, but then they said, but then there's other ones that said that it was the Last Supper, and they were just paying tribute to the painting, not being blasphemous in any way.
It's so I don't know what's the truth and what's just gaslighting anymore, because they say. Some people said that, yes, they were, like you said, trying to pay tribute, and they came out and apologized, didn't want to offend anybody. And then you have other people saying, no, it wasn't the Last Supper at all. It was the Feast of Dionysus, paying tribute to the Greek gods, the Olympics or the Greeks. And you kind of look at both images, both pictures. If you can have maybe scroll, I don't know if I put it in there, honestly. I don't think I did. Let it play a little more. I don't know. So pause it right there. There's the actual Last Supper, and there's the Olympic feast.
Yeah.
I didn't put in the picture of the Feast of Dionysus, but they're drastically different.
Yeah.
If they wanted to do the Feast of Dionysus, they wouldn't have done the one straight table like that.
Right.
So, and whatever, neither here nor there. Christians could borrow imagery from, ancient Greek mythology, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. I'm not so concerned about the imaging of it. I just think it was it was just kind of an open mockery of it.
Super weird. The one cool thing I will say is through all this, they had it was Marie Antoinette, and she was beheaded, and they had the metal.
That shows it towards the end,
the death metal band that I just thought that was super cool and super unique, that they had this metal band going. The music was awesome while they're coming through. But then, and then even then it explodes into all these shreds of red ribbon that's supposed to be like her beheading and spraying everybody with blood. I'm like, God,
that's
damn.
so weird. Like, well, everyone's talking about like, oh, it's satanic, this and that. I'm like, no, it's France. It's Marie Antoinette. I get it. But yeah, that's like really.
I thought the metal part was cool because it was melodic enough that it could have appealed to more people, but it was still unique in a sense that like you don't see a metal band playing at an opening ceremony. I'm like, that's kind of neat, you know. And
you
then,
also don't see a lot of dudes with tits walking around.
or their balls hanging out. Yeah. So anyway, everything just kept getting like weirder and weirder.
Yeah,
and weirder.
like what has happened? I mean, I guess you could say it was a very uniquely French opening ceremonies.
And isn't France kind of known for being more flamboyant and out there and weird?
Yeah. So like, I mean, I get it. Every Olympic ceremony is kind of a bit of a tribute to the host country.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, the China one, they had dragons and shit like that. And I mean, China, you know, they have all that shit. So I get it. Yeah, he's got that China button on fucking standby.
Wrong.
Did you guys notice they flew the Olympic flag upside down at the beginning of the ceremony?
No.
They brought the torch in, they raised the flag and upside down.
If you're hearing a voice that's unfamiliar to you, that's Adam, our producer, chiming in vocally, but not so much visually.
Finally mic'd up.
Finally.
No, I didn't see that.
I didn't either. Was that an accident?
Maybe not. He's setting up his own cues for his buttons. All right.
No, that is weird.
Yeah, you know, and one of the things I came across too is somebody compared it. You talked about being in China, but like the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, they posted what that intro was, and obviously because we're doing the new format, I don't have the video linked, but it was 2008 drummers drumming in unison and all this stuff. It you know, represent their country, but also it wasn't. I don't know, man. Like it was just
super gay.
100%. There's just such a different, I think, a stark contrast between East and West. Anyway, between ideologies and you know,
I remember seeing the highlights from the China one. It looked badass.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was badass.
Yeah.
This one, not so much badass.
No, I don't know that there were any highlights from it.
What's the next Olympics? 28.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah, I know the.
And that's LA, right?
I think it's LA.
I think it is LA because they were talking about doing stuff for the water sports in the arena.
Oh yeah, God help us. It's going to be pretty similar to France if it's fucking L.A. Well, not be the United States, right? I think it's all over.
The United States are still around in 4 years.
Oh, we're going to be here. God damn it! You can't take down America. As much as you may try, fucking liberals.
Yeah, and then the only other thing I had about the Olympics is you know, I always thought it was fun to follow like the medal count and you know obviously Russia obviously is always you know one of the top runners.
Russia, China,
their whole deal of not being their whole was it a lifetime ban for the substance stuff that they all.
There's a massive doping scandal with Russian athletes.
But for years, like they're going back and saying because of those years they're DQ'd.
Maybe 3 Olympics.
They have to compete under different country or different name. Like it was like the Russian Federation of Olympics or Olympic Federation ROF. But yeah, so just going through and watching that was always kind of neat. Seeing some of the sports that I hadn't seen before. I guess flag football is in the Olympics this year. I didn't get a chance to see any of that. I don't know if it's gone on yet. But just watching.
Who's playing in that one? Is there any NFL players? There's no way an NFL player is playing in that.
Well, they're getting ready to go into season. I can't.
That's what I'm saying. They're in camp right now.
Camp, yeah. So I don't know.
NFL camp started this past week.
But just watching the traditional classics for us, you know, the basketball. Watching, you know,
basketball is what I really watch. Track and field.
Can't wait for that to get going.
Every 4 years,
gymnastics.
I like watching people run.
Gymnastics.
Yeah.
So
stuff that you never watch ever in your life.
Swimming's good.
Why? Nobody ever watches this shit ever. Except every 4 years, we tune in like it's the greatest thing that's ever happened.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm guilty of it too. Like, I'm watching people swim. I'd never fucking watch anybody swim other than the Olympics.
Yeah.
Like, if you were to say, hey, the world championships are next year, like, I don't fucking care. It's not the Olympics. I'm not watching somebody swim.
Right.
Are you fucking kidding
There's
me?
already records that have been broken, Olympic records, world records. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Yeah.
Did you see the picture? I don't know. I think it's Photoshopped. Everybody's saying it's not, but the Brazilian surfer.
No.
He's standing with his, it's a shot of him in midair, and he's standing completely vertical. His board's vertical. It looks like he was standing on the beach and his board was set up. I can show it to you if you want.
Yeah, spin it around. Let me see it.
So.
Oh, okay.
But it looks like he's on the beach, the board's on the beach, everything's posted on the beach.
Yeah.
And then they just photoshopped it into the sky.
If that's a real picture, that's pretty cool.
That's what they're saying. If it is real, it's pretty legit.
I mean, not everything has to be fucking photoshopped,
that's
right?
Pretty close. What do you think, Adam? You see it?
I'd like to see the video of how they got to this point.
How?
That's you.
I know. Like everything's silenced, and I've gotten 13.
Clearly,
like if you want to do a tally count, I've got 13 spam calls in the last 3 hours.
All who you voting for?
I don't know. I don't answer. I don't answer my phone at all anymore.
Yeah, it's probably smart.
Why would you?
It's like my wife. She doesn't either.
I'll answer it if I see it's like a name is programmed in my phone. Other than that, not touching that thing. What the fuck?
Is that the video?
Sorry, I didn't know you guys.
It's like all of a sudden people were speaking Portuguese.
I'll let you know if I find it.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, my dad, we were watching it with my dad and stepmom. Is it real?
Yeah, it looks legit. I wish I could.
Oh, that's okay.
Show you.
We can add it in.
I'll send you the link.
And my dad got to a point too where he was like, he was so upset by everything that had like just the blatant in your face. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. In every aspect, and then they kept replaying it over the days because of the controversy. It was all over social media.
They took it off. They took it off their YouTube page.
But I'm saying, but social media and news outlets, everybody would just kept talking about it and bringing it back up. And so he hit a point where he actually texted me. He's like, "Hey, bud, I just want you to know, like, sorry if if I let this bother me more than I should have when you were here." He's like, "I've just come to the conclusion that I'm not gonna watch the Olympics for the rest of the deal because I'm tired of them showing it and highlighting it and buzzing it in." He's like, I'm over it.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're not into that thing, then yeah, you're going to be offended. You're going to be offended by it. You're going to turn a lot of people off. You're not going to watch, and they have to know that going in. That's going to happen. I wasn't offended by it, but I was annoyed.
Yeah. I was at a point where I'm like, okay, that's enough. Like we get it. We get it. It's a little over the top. We get it.
I think that's what most people have a problem with the whole trans thing is just it's so over the top in your face. Like, no, look at it. You will watch it. You will watch my balls fall out on national TV.
Well, do you remember? I mean, the whole thing with that. I mean, even like the gay movement, like it was what we do in our bedroom should be none of your business.
Exactly.
What we do behind closed doors, it's who I choose to love is none of your business. And now it's become everybody look at me. This is your business. It has to be your business.
Yeah,
if you say it's not, you're a homophobe or a transphobe.
I truly don't care. If you
nobody cares.
If you want to get
it to yourself.
Set of bolt-ons and dress as a woman, I don't care.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. I'm not offended by it. I don't dislike it.
And I think the pervasion of it, like, the guy's balls are hanging out at the Olympics on national TV, and that's okay because of this act. Like, you can be transgender, man. Nobody cares. You can dress in drag. Nobody cares. You want to make a spectacle of it? Fine. Like it's a shitty opening ceremony. Like we'll chalk it up to that. But how far is too far before somebody goes, okay? Like my wife said, she goes, who okayed that? Who was the project manager that they submitted that to? That was like, yep, let's greenlight that one. Like,
well, he was all over the media too. It's like, in case you want to know who's responsible, this is the guy. Yeah. So his bio was everywhere. I don't have a problem with it at all. Since it was on national TV and it is a big worldwide deal, a lot of people like yourself are tuning in with their children. Right. So that's when I guess I have a problem with it. Like if you want to put it on TV with a warning, like, okay, I don't care. I don't have to watch it if I don't want to. That's kind of the whole thing, the freedom of, being able to choose. Right. But when it's just blatantly put in front of your kids, like I don't necessarily want to have that conversation with my kid who's 10 or somebody else might have a kid that's 6 or 5 or like whatever. You don't want to have that conversation. It should be up to the parents when it's time to talk about these things.
Yeah. Or if you saw a Disney movie that you shouldn't have seen, that's when you got to have those conversations.
A Disney movie did this?
I didn't tell you about that?
No. Oh. What movie?
Buzz Lightyear.
Oh, was it a lesbian?
A couple years ago, I took my kids to see Buzz Lightyear, and there's a lesbian scene, and they ended up having a baby. I think my daughter was 4, my son was 6, and my daughter was like, "Dad, how can 2 mommies have a baby?" I'm like, "Oh, perfect. I get to go home and have this conversation with my 4-year-old at a fucking Disney movie."
So it's either you have
awesome.
But I mean, I guess you could say the same thing too. Like if you get a guy and a girl and they have a baby, like, hey, how did they get a baby? I mean, if you go to a movie and a couple has a baby, one way or another, you're gonna have an explanation to give when you get home. If you haven't had that talk
not.
Yet.
I mean, she's got baby dolls and she's 4, and she's not coming to me going, "Hey, where did this come from?"
But why would a kid know that it's weird for 2 moms to have a baby as opposed to a mom and dad, other than that's just what she sees?
Well, because that's what she sees. She sees her mom, her dad, our neighbors,
that's what I'm
our
saying.
Community, everybody around us. We don't have anybody in our neighborhood that has 2 mommies, 2 daddies.
I don't want to come off like it's a bad thing.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't think I don't think it has its place in a rated G Disney movie. Like it was another one of those things that felt forced. It was right around that time that the Disney agenda was changing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're
forcing, you know, every main character, a quarter of our main characters are going to be gay or trans or whatever. Like whatever they came out and said that statement, and it was just like one of those deals where I'm watching it going, this literally has nothing to do with the movie.
Yeah, I don't like when they just, for no reason at all, put it in because they feel like it has to go in.
Yeah.
There was a fantastic show, which I loved. And again, I will say I have no problem with this. I don't even have a problem with the scene or the episode I'm about to describe. But the show The Last of Us on HBO Max.
Well, there was one, I never even saw it. I just heard about it, the one episode.
Fucking awesome show, number one. And there was one episode where he stumbles across this man who was by himself, but he kind of recounts his life living as a gay man with this other guy who's now dead. But that episode had nothing to do with the entire show. It didn't affect before that. It didn't affect anything after that. It had nothing to do with anything whatsoever other than we're going to put an episode in here where there's a gay man and we're going to say how he's missing his gay lover, which if that had something to do with the story, I don't fucking care. Like, I wouldn't care at all, but it had nothing to do with it. We're just putting it here because we want you to see this.
Yeah.
Like, that's the stupid shit. Why? And again, there's a lot of things in TV that are done like that and it annoys me equally on everything.
Yeah.
Like, if this has nothing to do with it, don't put it in there.
Well, and I think the argument for people who aren't in that lifestyle or don't participate in that or don't agree with that or live, you know, quote unquote, a more traditional lifestyle is the fact that it feels like it's being introduced over and over to make it's being normalized. It feels as if it's being a forced normalization. So, you know, like everything else is you fight. We talked about this before. Like you fight your battles and you draw your line in the sand, you pick your stance, and little by little you just concede these losses because, well, I'm not going to argue about that. Or okay, I get it. There's just little these little battles you lose, and then you hit a point where you look back and you go, how the fuck did we get here? How the fuck did we get to the Olympic opening ceremony and dude's got his balls hanging out and they're maybe not, but making a mockery of the Last Supper picture. Everybody's in drag. Like, what the fuck? How?
I don't think so. How do I phrase this? I don't have a problem with them even normalizing men dressing like women. If that's what is normal to them, and there's a large group of people that do this, right? Whether it's undercover or out in the open, there's a large amount of people that do it. Like percentage wise, not large, but still enough people. You know what I mean? So I don't care if it's normalized. I just care of constantly being shoved down your throat, so to speak. Like I get it. I get it. You want to be a chick. I get it. Or dress in drag, whatever the fuck you want to do. Like, I get it. It doesn't have to be in my face from every angle all the fucking time.
Yeah.
I honestly don't care. If it's normal, it's normal. Like, I don't have a problem with it. Like, I think it would be anything. Like, it just ruins good. Like, The Boys. I like the show The Boys. And this whole season was like just making a mockery of all kind of social justice issues and making people on the right look like they're total fucking racist morons. Like, it was just a parody of, you know, far right culture right now. And I'm like, really? Now you brought it into The Boys? Like, this is so stupid. You made a good show, kind of a shitty season, just because you wanted to get some political message across.
Yeah.
So it's in every aspect, not just trans or gay or anything. It's political. It's everywhere. It's fucking annoying. I don't like when people just constantly have to push their agenda. Just make something good. That's what I like. Make something nice.
Yeah.
That
was the same grade you had with Acolyte.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make something good that we all want to see. Like, you're ruining things just to push your message across. It's stupid to me.
I was just looking up what the percentage population of the world that's trans. And you said,
I'm sure it's small.
Yeah. So, I mean, you said you don't even, your belief, or not your belief, but your stance is that you don't really have a problem with them trying to normalize it. And my stance is I do. And it's easy for me to say because I'm not in that world or that's
Neither
not how I live. But
what are you saying?
I have a problem with it being normalized, again, when it's 0.1 to 3% of the global population.
Yeah. But
so to normalize something to that, let me think about how I phrase this. The normalization of it being a thing is fine with me, but the normalization of it constantly being portrayed is catering to 0.1 to 3% of the global population.
No, you're 100%.
Versus the 99.9 to 97% that disagree with it or don't identify that way. And there's going to be more people that agree with it than the people that are trans, because they're going to have their supporters and their champions that fight their causes. But to normalize that, to me personally, in my household and with my family, with my kids and my beliefs, I don't agree with it. The normalization of making it like, here it is in front of your face on TV, in shows, has nothing to do with the story. We're just going to put it in, no big deal. Like, I'm out. Yeah. Good.
I get it. And so, yeah, I want to say this without.
Yeah, I was trying to be careful about not being.
Because I don't want to come off as offensive. I'm going to leave that thought alone.
Okay. We'll come back to it. We'll put a pin in it.
I don't know how to say it. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, honestly, I'm very indifferent to you. If you were sitting across from me as a trans man, like a stranger I just met, like, dude, I don't give a fuck about you.
Yeah.
I care about my family and my friends. Like, I don't care. Do what you want to do, man.
Yeah. And that's just it. I don't care. Again, it goes back to what you do behind closed doors is your business. It's nobody else's business. I don't care.
And you can do it out. Like, even if I knew, like, hey, there's going to be a drag show at the park today, I'm like, all right, I'm not going to the park today.
Right.
Like, just, it's that simple to me.
Right.
Like, again, do whatever you want. I don't care. I think most people don't care. They just care when it's being forced upon them constantly.
But in relation to the Olympic opening ceremony, if everybody knew that was going to be what it was about, you probably would have had a bunch of people that just chose to tune out and not tune in until it was ready.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
I think we agree. I think we're pretty similar on that. So. Let's see.
Did you see that? I didn't get a ton of time to look at it because it's just happening this morning, but the acting director of the Secret Service was in a Senate hearing.
No.
He just fucking going off on his own agency. He was talking shit like,
You letting it rip?
Yeah. He's like,
good.
I don't know how this could have happened. He's showing the angles on the roof. The shooter, he's like what the shooter would look like if he was laying completely prone, if he's up on his elbows trying to take a shot. He's showing all these things. He's like, there is no way that somebody shouldn't have seen this. He's showing vantage points from where local law enforcement was, where state law enforcement building. He's like, this never should have happened. I don't know how to excuse this. Like, and he was like pissed.
Have you heard, I'm sure you have, but have you heard about all the other stuff that came out about allegedly there was a man in a gray suit? You hear about that guy? So after the shooting, Secret Service is up there.
Is this the guy that zip lined off the
water tower? This is somebody who was in a gray suit who went up on top of the roof on the ladder. He had identification. He told the FBI agents that were up there that he needed the pictures that they had sent to him. He was claimed to be ATF.
So this is after the shooting?
Correct. After they needed pictures of the dead body, confirmation sent to him so he could send them and whatever. He claimed to be ATF. So the whole big thing around it was like, why the fuck is ATF involved? Like, it was kind of really bizarre, really weird, right? So then there's also body cam footage that's being released of an FBI agent in a suit, and he's up there talking to the shooters and probably the counter snipers or whoever.
FBI's rolling body cams too?
No, this is the shooters, the guys who were on the roof. I'm not sure if they're the counter terrorist snipers or who they were, but they're the two of the shooters from maybe another vantage point. I'm not sure. And there's a guy in a suit talking to him, and the body cam is showing the guy in the suit talking to him, and he's basically confirming that this dude rode a bike. So they have receipts. Remember, so he purchased the ladder. They have the Home Depot receipts. Well, the receipt they say is for a 5-foot ladder.
Right.
The ladder he used to climb that roof was 10 to 12 feet.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't the 5 foot. They were saying that they had pictures of him riding a bike carrying a duffel bag.
But he had a van there too.
It was like a block or two away.
Right.
And so now they're saying that the rumors of the van being laced with explosives weren't necessarily true, that there may have been no explosives in the van.
Is it kind of like the Kamala Harris pipe bomb on January 6th?
Yeah, I don't know. But they were, the bag that they stuck
that
under
they
the
planted
bench.
there themselves? No.
Yeah, there it is. So anyway, there's all these different things, and they're saying is like, what's with the gray suit man, with the ATF? Why does nobody have that? Well, now there's also, so everybody there had their phones confiscated.
What was the guy in the X-Files that was always the mysterious character, the guy that was always smoking?
Ooh, I don't know.
I think it was just a smoker or something like that, but he was always just this mysterious character that appeared. He was like, hey, the guy with the cigarette. Like,
asking for pictures and stuff.
That's reminded when you're saying like the guy in the gray suit.
Yeah, so then there's obviously everybody's phones were confiscated, and I guess some of them got them back, and were able to release some of their video footage, and there's video that's circulating right now that police had the building surrounded 1 to 2 minutes prior to the shooting, and they had 4 or 5 people surrounding the building trying to talk about who was up there, trying to get up there, and nobody warned Secret Service, nobody warned Trump, but they have all the. I mean, there's video of the. So that's one thing that
the acting director was talking about. One of the senators was asking about communications. local law enforcement was only able to communicate with state like command center, and none of them had.
What a nightmare.
None of them had. So basically, say you're a local guy, like, hey, there's a guy on the roof. Fuck, hey, State Patrol, there's a guy on the roof. State's like, I don't know how do we get a hold of how do we get a hold of Secret Service? They had no direct comms with Secret Service. And check this out.
Can you imagine while you're doing that? Can you imagine if they have an incident commander like some of the ones that we've heard from? Not going to say our city or neighboring cities by name, but where they literally copy so and so. Did you copy what he said? Copy. So and so B. Did you copy what A said? Copy. Okay, everybody copies. Okay, copy.
Well, that's exactly
just
what
nonstop. You're like, shut the fuck up.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
So apparently there was meetings that were supposed to happen beforehand. Like, hey, we got this big event. Like, hey, Adam, you're state. Steve, you're local.
Yeah, you would
I'm
think.
Secret Service. Hey, let's get together, collaborate. Hey, this is a target. This is a target. This is where you're posted. This is where you're posted. Hey, we're all going to be on ADEX 6. Like, that's our communication. Secret Service said, nah, we're good. We don't need to go to that meeting. So
I was just going to say, I heard that Secret Service didn't go to the briefings that morning.
How do they not at the very least have a liaison like we do, like their liaison that interacts with everybody else, and every agency has a liaison, and those dudes get together so that they can communicate? How do they not have that?
A colossal fuck. And Junior brought it up when we were talking about it that, like, even here locally, like, I'm going to get the cities mixed up because I can't remember exactly how the radios work, but like, say Phoenix PD can't talk to Mesa PD.
Yeah,
like they're not on the same thing. Like, we have radios, and there's certain people we can't talk to.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure they had a lot of that going on, and it doesn't help that the Secret Service said we're not coming to the briefing.
Well, even on the main decks, think about that. Like, we can click to a neighboring city's PD channel, but if we want a different city's PD channel, that's a whole different deck.
And it takes like a minute to get to, like, scroll,
cycle through.
Yeah,
yeah,
going through all that shit. So they had those communication failures. They had Secret Service that decided they weren't going to go to the briefing beforehand. They gave Secret Service the option, like, hey, we've got drone coverage. You want to use our drones? Nah, we're good. So they're denying all these resources. They're not attending briefings.
But I wonder, like, what the standard protocol for that. I mean, this is a presidential campaign candidate. Should that all have been standard operating procedure?
Yeah.
All of that.
Yeah.
So how are they even able to dismiss that and say, no, we're good? Like, that should just have been in the plan.
Well, we've talked about this before, but almost everybody there was local homeland agents. They weren't even Secret Service detail because Jill Biden up in Pittsburgh had 3 times the amount of Secret Service agents.
Which makes you wonder even more, like, then why are they, at that point, why are they saying, nah, we're good?
They don't know.
Like, you got the D team and you're still going to wave off?
I'll tell you what, if I was sitting in my house right now as like a reserve agent, they're like, hey, we're going to go protect Trump at a rally. Like, oh, fuck, man. I got a lot of fucking questions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to make sure I'm dialed. Like, hey, you're getting called up to the show.
Absolutely.
You know
dialed.
what I mean? Yeah, absolutely dialed. So that's a soundbite we need.
I know.
But, I mean, none of those people had any preparations for this. They don't know what the standard operating procedure is. They don't know what the fuck they're supposed to do in those instances, which is why you had all that chatter. Like, what are we doing? Where are we going? What are we doing? Because they never.
I love that. We need a soundbite of that female FBI officer. What are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing?
So, when we talked about, hey, the training they had, or you said, hey, your instinct is to do this, they never even had the training.
They didn't
Forget
have
about
an instinct.
Doing nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. So it's a little ridiculous, but that, I'm going to watch more of it afterwards because it's still happening, but I can't even remember his name, but the acting director of the Secret Service was fucking going off. He sounded pissed.
Yeah.
One thing he was saying, like, I guess one of his boys was the sniper. Like, he's like, when I was on the presidential detail, he had my back in these situations, blah, blah, blah. He's a fantastic, Secret Service agent, fantastic sniper, world class. Like, so basically just like, hey, don't fucking lay him away. He's like, there's a lot of failures here.
So do you think, does any more of it lend itself to you of this scenario to possibly being any type of inside setup, any type of the conspiracy side of things? Because people are saying, there's a receipt for the 5-foot ladder, but he climbed a 10 to 12-foot ladder. He rode in on a bike and had ammo bags, didn't have the van that they said he had. So obviously somebody had to help him out to get him to there. There's people pointing him out. They didn't get him. This is a colossal fuck up across multiple agencies. Possibly this guy in the gray suit asking for pictures of the body. And I guess local law enforcement, it's believed that they did what they were ordered to do by this guy, whatever he was, ATF or not. The fact that they had the building surrounded and there's videos 1 to 2 minutes prior and the comms issue, the fact that the Secret Service was overkill on Jill Biden and not with him, the fact that Trump's campaign had been denied multiple increased requests for security at different times. Like, does any of that, the audio forensics that we talked about last show about the rifles and the possible multiple shooters, like, is there any part of you that's more like, I don't know, man, that is really weird, or are you still like 100% this was just
where I'm at,
local agency fuck up?
No, I think it's all of them fucking up. So I'm kind of in the camp of incompetence, like we've talked about before. There's a lot of incompetence going on, a lot of indifference, borderline malicious indifference, and I'll explain that. Basically, like, kind of like if you live here in Phoenix, out in the desert where we're at right now, or at least where my house is at, if you leave the front door open, you might get some creatures that walk in. There might get a snake that comes in your front door. So you keep the front door closed, right? That's the responsible thing to do. That's standard operating procedures, closing that front door.
Yeah, you want the air out.
But you know what? If you open the front door and you leave it open 6 days a week, probably nothing's going to happen, right? But you know it's supposed to be closed. Now, if you just leave it open all the time, like, let's roll the dice. Like, probably no shooter's probably going to come over here, but we'll see. So I think there could have been a lot of like, nobody's probably going to shoot Trump, but if they do, oh well, we've got officers there. Hey, do we have the amount of officers we need there? Like, technically, yeah, we're supposed to have 6, and there's 6 there. Like, are they all Secret Service? No, I got some Homeland in there. Like, but we got 6, right? Okay, cool, fine. He's got enough. So I think when I say malicious indifference, there was, I don't care about really protecting Trump to the max.
Yeah.
But I'm going to cover my bases just barely enough. So it's like you're completely indifferent. So you're leaving that door open for that snake to come in, and you don't care if the snake comes in or not.
And that's almost, the way you explain it there is almost what it sounded like to hear that Kimberly Cheadle on the stand. It was very much almost of that malicious indifference that you're explaining.
Yeah, like, I don't care. Like, we're going to cover our bases just barely. If something happens, whatever.
Yeah, she seemed pretty unfazed.
She seemed like a bitch.
Yeah.
I would hate to have her as my boss. Hopefully she's nobody else's boss.
Nobody has her right now.
Yeah, for now. She'll wind up... all those bureaucrats, dude, they just weasel their way back in.
Yeah.
Somebody else gets hired. Fucking Kamala Harris gets elected president. Like, we got a spot for you, sweetie. Come on in.
I'm sure.
She was probably
Girl power.
She was probably on the white ladies for Kamala call, the Zoom call.
The one last thing I want to talk about with the shooter follow-up was the guy that we had the video of doing the audio forensics. Mm-hmm. He also was showing too, I guess there's a separate snippet that I found that they analyze the shooter, the video. I guess they have videos of the shooter as he's shooting. Mm-hmm. And there's like no kick from his rifle. He was like, everything about the shot itself, he goes, it doesn't look like he's the one who took those shots. Or at the very least, it was.
Well, what are they looking for a kick on a rifle too? Like, if you've never shot an M4 AR type rifle, like, it has a buffer spring in there. There is not a lot of kick.
But it's just, he was just piggybacking on to, he was saying that there just appears to be some inconsistencies with the shot itself with the shooter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, until something definitive comes out, these freaking armchair quarterbacks doing their analysis, like, it's hard for me to, like, it's just always going to be hearsay. We've talked about it. The people that are conspiracy theorists are always going to find the one little thing that bothers until something a little more concrete comes out. Like, that's kind of where I think they just didn't care if something happened to them.
Yeah.
That's where I go. But the FBI director, when he was talking to Congress, he mentioned that he might not have been hit by a bullet. He may or may not have been hit by a bullet. Like, the amount of gaslighting going on just to make it look like nothing serious happened to Trump is insane.
Yeah.
They later came out and said, okay, it was a bullet. It might not have been the whole bullet. It might have been a fragment, but he was hit by a bullet.
Like, they're dumb. Like that makes it better.
Yeah, it makes it better. So, like, even if nothing ever hit him, the man was shot at, somebody died at it. Like, if he was never hit by anything, like, are you guys, you're kind of missing the point here.
Yeah.
Like, there's a massive fuck
There's
up.
an attempt on his life.
Yeah. And somebody died.
Yeah. You can't take that away. You can't forget that.
Oh, dude, I just saw this yesterday too. You're talking about, like, gaslighting America, like this is no big deal, it never happened. Meta has their own AI thing, right? And if you asked Meta's AI about the Trump assassination, it wouldn't give you any information. And they were even giving what is the word I'm looking for? Basically, community notes saying that it was fake.
The picture, the iconic picture.
Yeah, the iconic picture was fake.
So they had fact checkers. They banned the picture because they said that fact checkers checked it and said that there was reports that the FBI agents were smiling.
Yeah.
And they said that that's false. And so they were banning the picture for false information. But I didn't see anything ever saying that the FBI agent was smiling. I never saw that picture.
No, I never saw they were smiling. The picture they were showing, they weren't smiling.
So it wasn't just the picture. Did you see Elon tweeted this for about a 12-hour span? If you tried searching.
Yeah, I saw that.
For the President Trump assassination.
It wasn't doing the autofill because I tried it myself.
I did too.
Yeah.
And it was after the fact and it popped right up. But also searching just for President Donald, it wouldn't give you Trump.
So I was just looking for the assassination. I was doing various things of assassination and none of it would autofill itself. But if you fully typed it out, it would still do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was weird that it wasn't doing any.
And they came back. I think Google also too came back and said, yeah, there was an error, and they went back and fixed it.
But initially they said that the algorithm is functioning as it should.
Yeah.
So when I talk about election interference, I'm not talking about people at voting booths and Dominion states. You're
censoring
this
any
is
type
election
of information
interference.
getting out. Yeah, absolutely.
This is exactly election interference.
Absolutely.
So people like, you can fucking say what you want about election interference, but this is happening when the biggest platforms in the world.
Is this going to get censored? Is this going to get taken off?
Yeah.
Our episode?
Probably.
Okay.
Well, I wondered why our last couple episodes talking about Trump and stuff weren't getting views. And I'm like, oh, they're censoring everything.
They're through
YouTube. Google owns YouTube. They're all the alphabet
blocking
company.
all that. Yeah, makes sense.
Makes sense. Like, man, the last one got this and then the new one gets nothing. I'm like, okay, weird.
So, I mean, that's a pretty good segue into, obviously, with the whole Kamala thing. You called it. You said Kamala's going to be, she's going to be the candidate. She's going to be run for president. She's going to get elected. She's going to make it. We'll have to hear that shit for 4 years.
For 4 years.
God, dude. And now she's getting all the endorsements. So finally, Obama's endorsed her, and that was like kind of the big, that was like the last one they were hanging on, right? That and Pelosi, right?
Yeah. That was the most bullshit staged call. I should have put that in our video thing.
Well,
as she's walking off stage, hey, someone's on the phone for you.
Do you want me to play the audio?
The Obamas?
Yeah, you can play it. But it's even more ridiculous when you see it.
So there's the Obama phone call and then the Biden phone call, which was super weird. I know you probably...
The Biden one was weird and like...
Well, because she almost called it a recording.
Yeah, and that kind of lended.
And then there's people who plugged it in, and we talked about this, I think. You weren't at the station, but that 11 Labs, there were people plugging that into the AI detection software, and they came back. One of them came back, it was 97% AI. Yeah. Another one came back that it was only 3% AI. So everybody was kind of up in the air. But
so I was listening to Joe Rogan, and they were talking about this. They actually did some of his clips. They're like, hey, run our old clips through there. But Jamie was saying on the show that apparently it's like every X amount of turns through there, it's a glitch that'll say that's AI generated, even though it's not. So I'm going to make up the number. But if I put in 10 audio clips, the same audio clip, if I put it in 10 times, on the 10th time, it's going to say it's AI generated every 10th time. I'm making that.
So how reliable is that then? I mean,
not very.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, new technology, right? You're going to have bugs. This is one of the things that's going to get better and better. But yeah, not 100% reliable.
Still weird that she almost called it a recording.
It sounded like a recording. Mm-hmm. It sounded so weird. I remember not even like conspiracy thinking in real time because like that's not my go-to. Well, I'm listening to them like, this sounds off.
Do you remember there's people who were calling for proof of life, saying that like we hadn't seen him in a while, and even you and I had talked about like the last time I think the last time we did this, he was seen 5 days prior, and ever since that it was like the tweet and the handwritten letter of the resignation, and then there was that recorded phone call. Like, why would he not be video? Why didn't he do it on White House stationery? Why? It's just super bizarre, man.
And people were like really going deep into this is Joe Biden's dead, and like this is a guy in a Biden suit now. They were comparing pictures of him next to Netanyahu. They were showing.
I have that linked. But I couldn't put it in. Did you see that though?
They were both supposedly 6 feet tall. But I mean, I started looking at those pictures, analyzing. Like one of them, Biden's a little bit more in the foreground. Yeah, like you can make things.
What about him walking up the stairs into Air Force One? Not tripping, moving with some speed.
He looked good,
dude.
Hey, he was rested after COVID.
He does look like he's like 6 inches taller in a lot of like the one where he walks out with Jill. Yeah. And he comes walking down the hall. I don't know where they're at, but he comes walking down the walkway and turns a corner. Like he's huge.
I just got to believe if you're going to do a Biden suit guy, you're going to get a guy that's at least within an inch.
You would think.
Like, hey, I need a Biden suit guy. We need somebody that's about 190 pounds, 6'1".
I mean, maybe Jill
5'11" to 6'1".
10-inch heels when she's with him.
Well, there's times where Tammy's wearing shoes and like I'm I'm quite a bit taller. I'm probably 4 inches taller than she is, or close to it. And then when she puts on heels, she can be 1 to 2 inches taller than me. So, I mean, depending on ladies' shoe wear, should be totally different. He's always got his shoes on.
Yeah, super weird, though.
But yeah, people are going deep.
Yeah.
Some people were saying it's Obama in disguise as Biden.
Shut the fuck up. Dude. That's ridiculous.
No, because then it would look like white chicks.
These are the conspiracy.
It would be obvious.
These are the conspiracy chat rooms Adam dwells in.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm gonna.
I did link another thing of masks, which unfortunately we can't show, but
I can't.
The mask thing trips me out.
It's so funny to me how deep in the mask world you are.
Dude, it's just weird to me.
I was working with Petrie the other day. He's like, Steve's got like a whole thing of masks. I'm like,
I know. That's because he asked me. He goes, dude, masks are real. I was like, I know. I've got a file thing saved for the show. And he was like, you have a file? I go, yeah. He goes, send it to me. Yeah, don't let him talk shit.
No,
he wants it.
I'm not saying he doesn't, but the fact that when he said like he's got a whole file, I'm like, of course he does.
Yeah, why not?
He's deep in the mask world. Why would you?
Because we're doing this. Because we're this. I gotta have I know if I tell you anything, you're gonna go, oh, that's fake. That's bullshit. So I gotta have enough shit to show you.
Of all of the things that you could go in on, like, you know what? I'm in the fucking mask world now.
Because I think it's interesting.
I think it's a very weird
fake people, politicians, masks. I think it's crazy.
There's one super cool thing I did see about masks, and I'm sure you've seen it. But it was they did a side by side of the same guy. No, it wasn't a side by side. It was a side by side of like, say you and me, right? You're on one side and you're saying something. You're talking, and then on the other one, I put a mask on, and then they were able to take AI, completely map me, and while you're talking, all of a sudden it makes me in a mask look like I'm talking and sound like you.
Well, we showed the AI a while back of the Asian man, and AI turned him into an Asian female.
Yeah.
And while he was talking, the Asian female was talking. It was, 100% look like a real human.
Yeah, but so it wasn't. So when I did a poor job of explaining this. So it's you talking there, but I put on a Steve mask. Now I'm Steve, and I sound and look like you. So they can make me look like I'm saying, and like I am you.
They took all this features and put it on that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the face wasn't even that close of a match. Like once they put the mask on and did the AI mapping, I'm like, holy shit, that looks really
pretty crazy.
It is crazy. Nothing it will be believable. We've talked about that a million
unless you're
times.
there in person. And even then, masks. That's why it's important.
You gotta start like pulling at people's skin, like, motherfucker.
Doing the old Crocodile Dundee.
What was that on Crocodile Dundee? Oh, yeah. Back to the balls.
It's always about the balls.
Oh man, what else is going on? Oh, you're talking about the Kamala whole thing.
Yeah.
We didn't get started in there. Like the hype train surrounding her.
Yeah.
These, you know what's disturbing to me is these fucking groups that popped up, the Zoom calls, the black women for Kamala, the black men for Kamala,
white women.
the white women, the white dudes for Kamala. Why are we, the party of inclusion and all this, why are we segregating everybody into the communities?
Because that's how you get more votes, by separating it out. That's the only time it matters, is when you start trying to account for demographics and show how you were the, let's see, what was it? She got less than 1% of the vote in 2020. She had a 37% approval rating and is polling worse than Joe Biden. But now you have to show how great she is by hitting all the demographics and breaking them down.
Well, that's what I'm saying. She is the most, she's the most AstroTurf candidate I've ever seen. Like this is like, so I mean, if you don't know what the AstroTurfing is, like you got your grassroots where it's organic and you're built up from the ground up. You got your base, and the AstroTurfing is the exact opposite. We want to make it seem like it's organic, but it's total bullshit.
Yeah. So, and kind of touch on that. I mean, we had talked before about how it was crazy that she had made so much money overnight. It was $50 million that first day, and then
that money was ready to go.
Sure, it was earmarked for it. We had talked about, but then they talked about how she had raised like over $200 million or $270 million, something like that. And there's a lot of people saying that it's largely in part to illegal donations from Act Blue, and the reason that they're able to get away with that. Have you seen any of that?
No, I haven't looked into that.
So basically, they have 888,000 donors, who most of which are first-time donors, and they are, they're all low denomination deposits. Well, one of the investigative journalist guy that I follow, he went through and looked, and it shows that there's people that are just everyday Joes, and it shows them making 20, 30, 40 donations. And so they were actually
I did see that. There were a lot of people like, why did you make 5 $25 donations today?
So they went interviewing them, and they're like, I didn't. I made one. And so the theory, and they interviewed multiple people saying, yeah, I donated that once. It was a $5 donation or whatever. And so they're like, you didn't make 40 different donations? They're like, no. And they would show them and go, this isn't you. And they would go, no, I made one. And so what they're saying is this is a way for Act Blue to funnel all these donation dollars into there by saying, well, they made one donation. We're going to use that name 10 times. John makes a donation. We're going to make it look like he donated 40 times. And how do you prove that they didn't?
That's so weird that you said that, because I was on X and looking, and there was this whole thing with, which is another part of this astroturfing bullshit. This little thing now is like, hey, I'm a lifelong Republican and blah, blah. I'm so excited to vote for Kamala Harris and blah, blah, blah. So people kind of started digging into these people, like lifelong Republican. Like, so they look up their name. I'm like, oh, Mike Johnson, like, oh, lifelong Republican, huh? You've donated to Kamala Harris. You just donated to her, whatever. And like, they showed the snapshot of what he donated. And like, it is weird that he did 4 donations for $25 today. Like, why do you have to do that? People mention that kind of matter-of-factly, like, that's weird. But the fact that you say this now, like, that's out there. So, that's a thing.
Yeah, and so the thought is Act Blue is obviously one of the biggest Democratic campaigning contributors, but I mean, I think...
Is it a super PAC or what?
I don't know the details. I didn't get a chance to dig into it too deep.
Or are they like a corporation that donates?
They are... Let me just look it up real quick so I don't sound like more of an idiot.
No, let's go with Idiocracy.
Act Blue is a nonprofit.
Okay.
Yeah. So you can make donations through Act Blue, obviously, but there was something.
And Act Blue can donate to a super PAC or towards whatever.
Yeah, but there was some deal with about why it was illegal for them to donate money, which is why they have to hide it by making it look like it's through different donors.
Interesting.
So I don't know if it's because corporations can donate and because of the money, like they can't accept.
Yeah, that's another thing.
I don't understand the ins and outs of it. I just know that everybody who's talking about it says it's shady as fuck.
We got to get money out of politics.
I know. It's shady as fuck. And then there's all these people that are saying that like I mean, people who deal with this stuff on a regular basis say this is blatantly obvious. They're funneling money through Act Blue in the name of these donations.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Which is wild. I was like, holy cow. I mean, when the way they pointed out, it looks super obvious. So I don't understand how.
Because for a while, I can't remember when it changed, but only people were allowed to make donations. And then all of a sudden they passed this laws, which seemed kind of benign at the time when they did it. And it didn't make a lot of sense. But all of a sudden corporations are technically people. And then corporations were like, oh, now corporations can donate to campaigns.
Yeah.
And then they started all the things with the super PAC. So you can make all these insane donations and just hide this money and funnel it every which way. And basically at the end of the day, whatever candidate or party has the most money wins.
Yeah.
And who are they going to be beholden to when they're in office? Those people.
This guy kind of breaks it down on this one video, and he talks about, there was articles about this in the Carolina Journal, and it talked about this is previously like they had been in trouble for fraudulent money laundering through Act Blue, through fraudulent donations to candidates. Yeah.
If they've been busted before, like how are they still allowed to be a thing?
Don't know. I don't know enough about it. I got to do more research on that. But I saw that and I was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. That would make sense on if it were true. We don't know for sure. But if it were true on how she was able to generate that much money, if it's through fraudulent donations
it's
from
at least
a
thing,
PAC
because
fund.
I said very just matter of factly, somebody pulled up a guy's donation history and it showed that he donated 4 separate donations on the same day. Like they weren't investigating him for that. They were just trying to see like, oh, is he really a Republican like he says? And somebody in the comments said it is weird they had to do 4 donations of $25. Like,
yeah, so they covered, I don't know, the one I watched, like, 5 or 6 different people, and then went and interviewed 2 or 3 of them, and they were like, no, I only donated once.
Dude, campaign finance hurts my head.
Yeah. All finance hurts my head.
Dude, like all these corporations that put in money to these campaigns, like that's all they're going to do. People that think that Kamala Harris is Obama, hope and change, like no, it's more of the same. No. She's going to be beholden to whatever fucking donors giving her all this money. And all these corporations that are donating to the parties on both sides I was listening to this today, they are both like making comments about the SEC chairwoman, Lena Khan, how they want her out. She's an idiot, blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, she's done the most anti-corporate things going. She's busting up mergers and things like that. But everybody wants her gone. So whoever gets into power, whether it's Trump or Kamala Harris, I would bet money that Lena Khan's out within a fucking week because every donor wants her out.
Did you see the Black Lives Matter quote, though? So
yeah, even Black Lives Matter thinks that this is
against
bullshit.
Her. Yeah, it's like, pretty funny. And there's a lot of African American Black actors, rappers, singers, people that are public figures that say like she is not for the black people. You know, and there's,
of course she is,
but there's been multiple, there's been multiple people who are like, hey, she's not even black, she's Indian, or hey, she says, you know, all these black people are saying they want to vote for her. Well, I'm black, and I'm telling you, like, wake up. And they start pointing out all these facts about how she, you know, the criminalizing of all the marijuana misdemeanor.
She goes whichever way the wind blows. Whichever
way the money's going.
When it was fashionable to be a hardcore, you know, no nonsense, tough on crime, then that's what she ran on. Then when she decided that the Liberal Party had shifted and there was not, now she's all this Black Lives Matter and all that kind of shit. She just goes whatever the way the wind blows. So she's not going to do fucking anything for you.
Yeah. So they were pointing out too a lot of inconsistencies with her with the defund the police thing. And Black Lives Matter. But there was also incidents where there's a couple different cases where I guess PD had done a couple wrong things, and she kind of, when she was DA, just kind of brushed her under the rug and helped, you know. So they're like, she basically just flip flops back and forth.
Yeah, I've got I should have fucking had it up, but there's a New York Times article back when she was running for president in 2019 that did a big breakdown on her record as a DA, and it's fucking crooked.
Have you guys seen the compilation of all the media now saying that she never was the border czar?
Yeah.
Yes. And they compare it to when she was named the border czar.
Yeah. Like ago. I have a tab in my thing here in my Notion. Again, I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, but the tab basically says, let the gaslighting begin. So there was govtrack.com that removed her rating from, I believe, 2017 as the most liberal senator in America. They removed that. Page is gone.
Really?
Fucking gone.
Election interference.
The never the border czar thing. And technically she was not the border czar because that position doesn't exist. But Biden put her in charge of the fucking border. That was a real thing.
Let's not get focused on the technicality of the name, the word czar.
Axios put out an article saying like, hey, the right's trying to paint her as the border czar. That she's never the border czar. That title didn't exist. And somebody in X put an article and attached it into it, said, hey, is this you? And it was an article from back in like 2021 that said Biden named her border czar. You guys are the same. It was the same author. It was the same exact author on Axios. Not just the same publication, the same author. These people are fucking insane. What else? The borders are one. What else? There was there's a great quote from George Orwell in his book 1984. And listen to this. This is a quote from Orwell's book 1984, which is basically a book about a dystopian future, right? Every record has been destroyed or falsified. Every book rewritten. Every picture has been repainted. Every statue and street building has been renamed. Every date has been altered. And the process is continuing day by day and minute by minute. History is stopped. Nothing exists except an endless present in which the party is always right. That sound familiar?
Yeah. We get closer and closer to that every day.
They just rewrite it right in front of your face all the time. She was put in charge of the border. No, she wasn't. Try to find it. I read an article. Yeah, try to find it.
Yeah.
Gone. That's exactly what they're doing. It's fucking nuts, dude. And people just keep marching right along because they hate Trump so much. They don't realize what they're just marching right into.
I wonder how long until, like, we've talked about this before, until, you know, it's revisionist history. Everything's rewritten, and how long until you forget about anything that came before it? How many generations before nobody remembers what came before?
Well, not only will they not remember, they won't be allowed to because,
that's what I'm saying.
You
won't be able to look it up yourself.
History is written by, you know, the victors, and then the victors right now are the Democratic Party, and they're just erasing what they don't want you to see. It's just fucking nuts.
Yeah. I'm hoping, I don't know. I don't know what I'm hoping for anymore, man.
I mean, I'm telling you, like, Trump isn't the answer either.
No,
but the only reason I
think he's better for the economy, for our country.
The only reason I even want Trump right now because it's a bull in a fucking china shop, and I'm ready for a little bit of chaos. Let's fucking shake it up. Because
that's how people were the first time they elected him.
The Democratic Party is just, man, they're a little scary right now.
Yeah.
And people think they're the kinder, gentler, more inclusive. Like,
it's weird. They're almost like the punk rock liberal Wild West. Like, they talk about Republicans and or conservatives and, you know, guns, and they're cowboys, and Wild West, and they're so dangerous. It's like they're the opposite. They're like the dystopian future Wild West.
They are. I wish there was a movie I could think of right now, but it is. They're just scary.
Yeah.
They're just scary. And everyone hears their talking points and they sound so good. And they do. Like, their talking points, like, yeah, I want a better world for everybody. I really do. But that's not what they're doing. Those aren't their actions behind the scenes. They're fucking scary behind the scenes. They're censoring. They're erasing things. It's fucking wild.
Did you see where the interview where Kamala was talking about conservatives being extremists because we are valuing, or I should say we are valuing guns and burning books of transgender and stuff. But she's basically saying like they burn books and they're all about guns and we're the extremists, right? No, they're the extremists. And it's like, yeah, but what books are they talking about burning? Like we're not talking about burning everything, dictionaries and like historical documents. We're talking about burning books that are in children's libraries.
I don't want a book about anal sex and sucking dick in the fucking 6th grade library.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not trying to burn it. I just don't want it in my kid's library.
What are we, how is that your stance and that your speech and that's what you're leaning on without giving the facts? Like that's a big deal.
Yeah. Like I don't want my kid to come home from library day with this book on dinosaurs and butt fucking.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Dad, check out this T-Rex. Also, what's this? Like, oh, what the fuck?
I feel like I feel like you were setting up the, what do you call a gay dinosaur joke?
Oh, what is a gay dinosaur?
A megasaurus?
I have heard that.
I was waiting for it. I thought that's where you were going. All right.
No, solid setup though. All right. Oh man, have you seen some of the, speaking of like, they're the party of this, we're the party of that. So everyone was talking about, man, Trump looks so weird with that fucking bandage on his ear. So some people are putting together like all these montages saying like, oh yeah, Trump looks weird with that bandage. Then they're showing like all these weird trannies and like people with the giant nose piercings and the big gauges in their ears and pink mohawks. Like, yeah, Trump looks weird with the bandage.
Guy got shot in the ear.
Like you're fucking, that's rich. You calling somebody, weird looking. Oh, moving on. I'm getting too upset talking about this. Have you,
what a week.
Kind of blending into AI and erasing history, we've talked about that Omni floor before.
Yeah.
Have you seen, Adam, pull this up? It's A3. So these are shoes that are similar to that.
So you get the sensation of the walking.
Yeah, but without you don't need the whole floor. Check this out.
On my feet.
Oh, I did see these.
VR shoes.
Watch, you can see the gameplay at the same time.
Virtual reality by actually walking around, and you don't have to use a joystick. In this video, I'm playing the game Rip Out using PreyDog's Unreal Engine VR injector. I'm also using a hex frame. It's the structure that is around me.
Keeps me from running into the wall.
In previous videos, I didn't.
Well, he's done it without there too, and you just stay in place.
And how that works and what that looks like.
Dude, now that's a cool technology.
Like
I feel like that would keep you from getting nauseous or sick because you're actually moving your body.
Yeah. Well, they've apparently conquered some of that too. I think it was called the Uncanny Valley or something like that, where people just get super sick. They've conquered some of that to a degree. There's still people that get motion sickness. But this, if you're just listening, so basically these are shoes. It's kind of like roller skate shoes, but you can walk and you kind of stay in place. You don't go anywhere. But as you have the VR headset on, you're walking through the whole gameplay. I wonder how that goes when it comes to running.
I don't know.
So you could sit there with your freaking controllers in your hands walking. You're walking through the whole game, but meanwhile, you're staying right in place.
Can you imagine when they get that technology to be able to register a jump without breaking your rolling shoes?
Dude, that'll be...
It's going to be pretty crazy. So are gamers going to get more in shape now?
I watched Jackson play on that VR. Other than the strain,
the other day he almost punched us.
Other than the strain on his eyes, like I would rather him play that because I see him. Yeah, you see him with his arms
sweating and just swinging.
Yeah, he comes out sweaty as fuck.
Like an ape race or something like that. He's battling other gorillas.
He's like gorilla tag and then scary orangutan or whatever. But I think the blueprint is already there. Ready Player One.
Yeah,
that whole rig setup. That's the thing. They just need to figure out how to bring that into people's houses.
Oh my God, you know how many people will buy that?
I would
buy it for the show,
dude. We just do the whole show in VR.
That'd be awesome.
That would be amazing. I think soon, this, like everything we see in front of us here, we could do from our house if we had our own VR thing.
Just all digital.
Yeah, we could be across the world, but feel like we're right here.
That's crazy.
You can technically do that in the MetaQuest, but we all look like those weird avatar things.
Yeah.
But we can all sit here around a table and talk, but it looks like you're in the metaverse as opposed to actual reality.
Really?
Yeah.
And we can do it remotely?
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
That's why people were buying real estate in the metaverse. Like, hey, come to my house.
Yeah.
And it's actually
Is that still a thing? I remember hearing that.
I don't think so.
That's wild.
People are spending a lot of money.
A lot of money to buy virtual real estate.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a thing anymore. I haven't heard much about it.
I thought that was you.
Yeah, but it was badass. But dude, that's all I guess we were talking about, let me backtrack one step here, because this had to tie in with the Kamala Harris. Adam, play K1 or A1. I'm sorry. This is a Ducey talking. Peter Ducey grilling Karen Jean-Pierre.
Yeah. Thank you, Corinne. Democrats on Capitol Hill are being handed this card with talking points. about the vice president and the border. Do you know who's handing this out?
I have no idea. You probably should ask her campaign.
So the first one says Vice President Harris was never appointed border czar. There's never been such a position. It doesn't exist. Why are Democrats so sensitive about the vice president and the border?
Why are Republicans so sensitive about actually not owning up to them getting in the way of a border deal? Why? Why won't they own up to that? Why won't they
Just
own up
nice
to the
deflection,
last
right?
president
Yeah, why don't you answer the
not to move
question?
Forward. It was a bipartisan
Let's,
deal on just right there.
This is pretty
Available
much
to
the end
them.
of it
They
there, but
voted
like, let's
twice
not
against
gloss over the fact that they're handing out these talking points
Yeah.
about how to talk about Kamala Harris and the border czar thing.
Yeah.
Like, here, this is what you need to know.
I love that
This is
somebody
what
that he
you
got his
need to
hands on
say.
one.
I know, that's awesome. Yeah, he's good. He's the only one in there that seems to have any spine.
He seems to put her through the ringer quite a bit. Like I love watching the highlights of just the two of them.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
Oh, it's fucking somebody at the front door. All right, keep talking. What do you got, Steve?
That's it. That's all I got. That was pretty much all my talking points. I had a fireside, but I don't have, with our new formatting, I can't get it on there.
Well, next time it'll be better.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go over it with you here real quick too. And I should have showed Adam. He could pull up videos in not exactly real time, but pretty close. I should show him how to do that too.
We'll get it fixed.
We'll get it fixed. But yeah, that's all I got, man. That's kind of a weak show today, but
You know what, man? We covered a lot. I mean, I was talking to Adam. I'm like, God, man, I kind of don't want to sit and talk about politics all the time, but holy shit.
just so relevant right
what
now.
else is there?
I know,
right now?
like, it's just it's going to be that way for the next couple months.
Yeah.
I mean, it just is.
So we'll come back in a week. We'll have better stuff to talk about, hopefully more uplifting stuff.
Hopefully some Olympic domination by the United
hopefully.
States.
Come back with a medal count.
Yeah, stick it to those dirty commies in China in the Russian
Suck
Olympic Federation.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, till next time, man. Signing off. Episode 31?
31.
31.
32 next time.
All right. Peace.